At times, the community must step up to shelter its own, to protect its own, to advocate for its own. Ours are the abused and neglected children, children who, through no fault of their own, find themselves separated from all they know and often living in a world of strangers. Community servants from all walks of life come together to care for these children, whose best interests are at risk of not being heard. They watch over these children and seek to forge for them a road to stability, dignity, and success.
Brenda has these amazing abilities to find information that nobody else can find.
I try to pull everybody together and allow us to work as a team and a family and be able to help the children get to where they belong, to the next phase in their life. There's a lot of ways to find out what you need to find out. I try to weed through the emotional aspects of it and get to the source and get to the truth. And I may ask the same question 3 or 4 times in one setting and ask it in a different way, and to be able to get to what we need to find out. And the truth is just so important. It's important to the children and to their lives, and it's important to the judge. They have to make the recommendation on where the children belong, and I have to be thorough.
Since I have a special needs child that got no services 50 years ago, I thought I could maybe give something back by being a CASA volunteer.
Despite some difficult circumstances in 2016, Tommy continued to advocate for her child on her CASA case.
All in all, things went so that I was okay to do the volunteer work and take care of that work, other work with my kids and my granddaughter outside of my volunteer hours.
Her dedication to her CASA kids makes her such a big asset to our organization.
As long as I'm physically able to get out and get around, then yes, I will continue to be a CASA.
The Buddy Faye Foster Award is given to a volunteer who's had a profound impact on their case within the courtroom.
Back in 2007, I saw an advertisement for court-appointed special advocates. I thought, man, that sounds like a really, really interesting, very, very challenging thing to volunteer for. Getting ready to have our second daughter, and thought, man, it's a perfect time in my life to start giving back to others, being others focused. It's relationships, right? I mean, that's to me it, and I think it's been conclusively proven. Positive relationships have very, very, very meaningful, long-lasting effects, no matter where you're at. Hey, if I can make some small, low-level impacts in children's lives, that would be a great thing. And 10 years later, it's these my kids making huge impacts in my life. And so you just keep going, and you keep advocating, and you keep trying to search for solutions, long-term, durable, stable solutions, so that they can enjoy success in their lives.
I think the most striking thing about Jessica is her absolute focus and dedication to the children that she serves.
My husband and I have fostered kind of on and off throughout our marriage, and we have probably had 50 different children in our home. It's a very different hat to wear, to be on both sides, to be the foster parent and really care and love the child and see the daily interactions of them. You kind of have that parent perspective. To be the CASA is a totally different side of the ball game, because then I know what it's like to be a foster parent, so I know what the expectations are. I know what you should be doing for this child. I know what you can't do. And so being a CASA, it's been I've been able to kind of pull apart the layers and look back and say, okay, this is not a good placement because I know there's better foster homes out there. I love the organization of CASA, and I really think that there's many opportunities for you to get involved and make a difference in these children's lives.
The RENA ELLIS Lifetime Achievement Award is given to a person who has given a minimum of 7 years as a CASA volunteer and another 15 years of service to children in our community. And this year we could not think of anyone more deserving than our CASA volunteer, Karen Johnson.
I just remember driving down, I think it was I-35, and I saw a big billboard and it was advertising for CASA. And so I didn't know what CASA was at that time, so I went home, got on the computer and checked it out, and it looked like something that I might be interested in. 7 years later, here I am. There's kids out there who need our support, who need our help, who need our love and encouragement.
Her heart is all about children, and she just wants to help where she can and make a difference in our future.
I just see kids who, not only in CASA, but just everywhere, who do need a voice to speak for them. Like the lady who stopped me in church this weekend and said, Karen, I remember you told me about your CASA experience, and she said, I'm a CASA now. And she said, it's the best thing that's ever happened to me.
Some of our folks at our company got involved with CASA maybe 15 or 20 years ago, and so we've known about CASA since then.
Chip and his son Taylor were so gracious, kind, and giving to agree to co-chair our annual Evening to Remember fundraising event.
It was really an honor to be able to co-chair something like that with my son.
When we visited with Chip and Taylor about this, they both felt real strongly that they were very familiar with CASA, but they knew several friends and several partners that had not really explored CASA before, and so they were able to tap into those for us and help introduce us and open the door and work with those folks.
It's important to me for this community to thrive. If a child goes into a very scary situation in court and for whatever reason gets lost in the system, that's one less person in our community that might not be as productive as they possibly could be. We all have time, talent, or treasure, and it's important that each of us do what we can with our time, talent, and treasure to make our community better.
There are many moving parts, both inside and outside of this building, that keep the CASA mission moving always forward. This is a building of many opinions and goals, where tears are shed for both heartache and joy, where memories are made. It's often a battleground over which dreams and futures are fought. This is a building of quiet justice, a building of humility, and most importantly, a building of hope. And within, CASA carries out its mission, supported by our cherished friends.
Julia has been a phenomenal friend of CASA, especially in this past year. And in having her be there with CASA, she has embraced the idea of what it means to be a team player.
I'm an assistant district attorney in Oklahoma County in the juvenile division. I handle cases involving children who are in DHS custody due to abuse or neglect. I work with CASA on probably close to a daily basis. They are heavily involved in many of our cases, and between the actual CASA workers and the case managers, we're in pretty consistent contact discussing cases, discussing things that are going on with cases, and they really serve as kind of the boots on the ground for the court system so that we can't manage 200 cases and know what's going on with every single one of them on our own, but when we have a CASA involved, they are able to take that hands-on approach that the court system really cannot.
It means so much to CASA to have allies like Julia when we're working in the juvenile deprived system, because we are the most effective when we work together.
So children will go through 3, 4, 5 different caseworkers, multiple foster home placements, but the CASA remains. And that consistency and that dedication to the child is life-changing for children.
My organization is Specialized Outpatient Services, or most people know as SOS for short. I've been involved with CASA in different ways for probably the last 16 years, mainly as a treatment provider. And about 4 or 5 years ago, Clotilde asked me if I would be willing to come up and help do training for the substance abuse portion for the new CASA volunteers.
Some of the key aspects needed for training is dependability, knowledge, expertise, and Mr. Patterson has it all.
The training really enables them to have a more thorough working knowledge of substance abuse. We try to help every volunteer explore their own past beliefs, biases, so that they can be more aware of it and maybe have a better understanding of those things so that they can be more objective in their involvement as a volunteer. CASA is an organization of volunteers, and these are individuals who take their time, their energy, voluntarily and willingly to try to impact Oklahoma. Not only is the impact that they're creating a now impact, but one that lasts tomorrow, 5 years from now, and 10.
The mini golf course was the brainchild of our director, Peter.
My 8-year-old son, Peter Jr., and I were just reading the paper one morning on the phone, and I noticed something about mini golf, and I thought, I've been wanting to do something new at the auto show, and I found a company out of Jessup, Pennsylvania called Mini Golf Incorporated, and they make mini golf courses for business owners who want to have a mini golf business. They had never made one for someone who was going to put it up, let it be used for 4 days, and then take it right back down.
We have a committee that we have set up that's drawn from our membership, and that's one of the things we do every year is we put out feelers on what sort of charity we want to support this year for this particular year's auto show. And Lane Diffie was on our committee, he's on our board of directors, had mentioned his relationship with CASA and with Leanne, and then we got to go in and talk to the folks at CASA about it and decided it was a really worthwhile cause.
The dealers in Oklahoma City think that way. They think they think with a virtuous mind, and they want to help something that they see that is really going to benefit the most vulnerable in their community.
We had whole sponsors from the media and from the auto industry and from affiliated industries, and also the donations came from play fees. So every person that played paid $5 to play the course, got to play the course, and then of course we had some giveaways and some contests involved in that too.
The efforts of the Metro Auto Show demonstrated how lots of small pieces come together to make a really big difference.
The Metro Auto dealers presented CASA of Oklahoma County with a $10,000 check.
This was the first year. It was kind of an untested, untried concept for this market, and we had high hopes for it, and I think we were really satisfied with how it turned out.
Last year I was Central Oklahoma Home Builders president, and I got a little bit more involved with the this organization or the group that does the charity work for Central Oklahoma Home Builders. I worked with the board and said, hey, here's someone we ought to look at. It's the work that CASA did that caused them to be chosen.
VESTA Homes has been a part of Central Oklahoma Home Builders for 20 plus years, and when the Home Builders Care Foundation asked us if we'd be interested in building the home this year, I said yes. Jason said, what are you doing? It's a down market, but here we are. And both of us have been active with the Home Builders Care Foundation for several years. And once we met with the charities, we were all in, 100% in. We were ready to go.
Central Oklahoma Home Builders, builders from around the community, suppliers, all came together. The community, again, came together to make this event happen.
All the different parts of the house either were greatly discounted or were donated along with the manpower to put that all together.
When you see what happens to these children that have done nothing wrong, I mean, they just happen to be born in the family they were born in, I really see CASA as trying to protect those children and stop that continuing cycle from going on and on.
Being a parent and realizing the amount of work that is put in to care for the kids, and knowing that there are kids that don't have parents or that don't have a home, how do you say no? I mean, there's a driving force right there to help every child in Oklahoma.
Brandi and Jared believe that consistency is one of the most important things they can add in their CASA kids' lives, and that's why we thought they were so deserving of this award this year. The consistency that they bring is invaluable and is changing those kids' lives.
It's really about knowing these children and like understanding what their situation is now in their foster home, and then what help they need, what they're still struggling with. What do we really genuinely feel like is best for the child?
There's times where I can go and she can't, or she can go and I can't. So it really actually helps to balance out, but you also have two different viewpoints and two different people looking at it, because we don't look at it the same way.
I think we also connect with the children extremely differently. Depending on what the topic is, sometimes they'll come to me and talk to me about it. Sometimes they won't. Sometimes they will only talk to him about things.
You get in there, and as you connect with them, it just pushes you to do more and pushes you to try to be as best you can in and outside of court, so those kids can have anything that they need and then everything that they deserve.
Tom is incredibly steady, consistent, and calming for some boys who have never had that in their lives before.
Almost every question can be answered like the best interest of the child. So in the past year, if there's any kind of confusion or any kind of how should we approach this, if you can just take it back down to that level, then the answers can really become very clear and very simple. If you can get a child that's still malleable and can be influenced, then just my experience has told me to put your efforts there. If you just like get tired of the way things are, you can either complain about it or you can do something. And like the bumper sticker says, lead, follow, or get out of the way.
Mike Johnson comes from the private sector, bringing a great deal of accounting and finance experience to the CASA board, to the CASA program. He shares that readily with not only staff, but board members.
My nature is one that I think is very structured. It's very goal-oriented. It's very process-oriented. And so I'm trying to instill a level of discipline into a committee that I actually think is very important.
As a member of the board, he is also the treasurer and finance committee chair. And to that end, he was really intentional about putting in place and ensuring that everyone understood the purpose of finance, putting in place a charter so that it's something that it's not just for today, but it carries through to the future of the CASA program.
When it comes to CASA, I know what I've seen, I know what I've experienced, and I'm hopeful that some of what I'm bringing to CASA from the perspective of a for-profit company is adding value to the organization. The true mission, the true heavy lifting isn't done by the board, it's done by all the volunteers. And so it's very humbling to even take credit for being recognized as being a contributor to CASA. I think most of us, we're lucky. We go about our daily lives, we conduct our business, we go home to our families, and again, we're not exposed to what many of the unfortunate are exposed to. And I think that CASA gives individuals, in particular the volunteers, the ability to go in and turn that around for people. And I can't imagine how rewarding that must be. Hi, I'm Mike Johnson. I'm very proud to serve as a board member of CASA of Oklahoma County.
I'm Peter.
And I'm Brad.
And we're with the Oklahoma City Metro Auto Dealers Association.
And we're proud to support CASA.
My name is Julia Hartnell. I'm an assistant district attorney and I'm proud to support CASA.
My name is Mark Livingston and I'm proud to support CASA.
I'm Jason.
And I'm Jim with VESTA Homes.
And we proudly support CASA.
Hi, I'm James Patterson and I'm proud to support CASA.
I am Chip Fudge and I am proud to support CASA.
I'm Tommy Lucy and I'm a child advocate.
My name is Tom Robertson and I'm a child advocate.
I'm Brenda PUGLIESE and I am a child advocate.
I'm Karen Johnson and I am a child advocate.
I am Brandi.
I'm Jared.
And we are child advocates.
I'm Will Calvo, and I'm a child advocate.
My name is Jessica Hutchinson, and I am a child advocate.
It is because of the strength of our community, the diligence of our support, that the CASA mission thrives. We are CASA of Oklahoma County. We are you.